Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever applies to you. Welcome to the Being Your Own CEO Success Circle. And as you might guess, we're going to be doing something a little bit different this morning um, by what you can see on your screen. So we will begin as usual by doing our participant introductions. So, David, would you like to begin?
Oh, I'm Dave Flannery from Rock Falls, Illinois, in the United States. I'm with Affordable Websites for Small Business. If you need a website and want to pay little amount of dollars, I'm your man. Um, with that, we're in the low 50s today, going up into the 60s and 70s this weekend. So we're
Ah,
looking at all the colors. The leaves of all are changing right now,
mm-hmm.
and it's at our level. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to arrange a trip to go down to a favorite spot that has along the Illinois River that has a beautiful area for leaf
Mm-hmm.
peeping. With
Uh,
that, back to you.
good morning. And you were saying what your degrees were, and I mentioned a little while ago that the new Android update has changed everything, and that was one of them. I used to be able to see right on my home screen on my phone what the temperature is, but it's gone. I don't know where it is. So it's,
I would be lost with
I
that in.
know.
I check the weather quite often.
I know, and I don't know where. I haven't looked to see if I can find it anymore. So,
Javita's in the chat, says hello to everybody, and we are broadcasting on both YouTube and through the website.
right on. Good morning, Javita. Welcome here. So, Vivek, I can see you're playing on your phone to see if you can figure out where the weather is. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I was trying to do that, but anyway. Uh, Namaste. My name is Vivekanand. Literally, it means wisdom and happiness. I am proud to share my belief with Steve Jobs and Leonardo da Vinci, who said simplicity is the ultimate in sophistication. I aim to bring time tested wisdom and happiness together into your business and life by unifying, simplifying, and amplifying simple technology and tools. Wake Technology is my company. Together, let us wake up our potential. I am in Reading, UK, England. The weather, yeah, as you mentioned, I used to even of course, I have a brand new phone, so it is much more.
You can't find the weather on your phone either, can you?
Not yet, not yet. I've been playing with it, exploring all the features and so on, but I didn't get around to finding this weather aspect yet.
Well,
So
if you find it, let me know.
yeah,
And if I find it, I'll let you know.
yeah, we have been playing with the translation aspect of the phone last couple of days, but I did send a happy Diwali greetings to Jivita,
Mm-hmm.
and I typed it in English, but I made sure that it gets translated into Hindi, and she should have seen the message in Hindi.
Ah,
So hopefully she did get the greetings. But anyway,
yeah.
um, happy Diwali to all those who will be celebrating in the couple of days.
Yes.
Fourth November is Diwali Day in India. It's a celebration of light. Um, and yeah, I would say it's not treated as a religious festival in India, because all those different religious people still observe
Celebrating.
Diwali,
Yeah.
some of it at least.
Yeah.
So, and of course, if you are in India around that time, you can't escape Diwali at all.
Right.
You will be reminded at every step of the way with the firecrackers going around and all that. So,
Oh, firecrackers are part of Diwali as well.
yeah.
Firecrackers are part of Halloween here.
Mm.
Yeah. Interesting.
In as far as UK is concerned, um, most of the time it so happens that Diwali comes very close to Guy Fawkes Day. That
Oh.
is
November the 5th.
yes, that is celebrated in a way in UK. And Guy Fawkes Day, there is everybody does fireworks, so so it's part of
Interesting.
the I mean, Guy Fawkes was a person who wanted to blow up the parliament or
Yeah.
something, and
Yeah.
so with the fireworks. So this is a parody of that, which has been continued.
I've never understood. I've always known about Guy Fawkes Day because it's my birthday.
Oh,
But I've never understood why anybody why would you be celebrating Guy Fawkes? I never understood that.
they are celebrating the fact that his plot was exposed, and he failed to in his mission to blow up the
Oh.
parliament. So the celebration is because he was caught and all that. So
Oh. Never made much sense to me.
yeah,
So, Fred, are you there? Would you like to introduce yourself?
you're muted.
Thank you. I'm Fred Jones, the creator of Our Future Leaders, and we assist young people to gain the communication and leadership skills that they need to help change the world. A lot of them are in Scotland marching about climate change right as we speak, trying to tell us, hey, we better do something about it because the world's going downhill if we don't. Anyway, I'm currently in Langford, which is near Victoria. And I don't remember when I moved here. I don't know if I was here last week. I
No,
don't
you
think
weren't.
so.
I don't think so. Oh.
I think I've moved since. This is the nomadic life I live.
Right on.
Right.
So, welcome here, Fred. And we do know that we will be missing Alana, I think. Dave.
Yeah, Javita says happy Diwali Day to all of us.
Thank you very much, Javita. Oh, dear. I realized that during my introduction, I forgot to mention what we're going to talk about. So, but by way of introduction for myself, I like working with retirees who would like to improve their online experience and or create an online business. So this morning we are going to talk about Linux systems. Now, in the topic, we talked. I called it Zorin OS or Ubuntu Mate. So Vivek and I spent quite a bit of time the last week, sort of doing various things, and
Yeah.
so what? The first thing we did was we loaded Ubuntu. I think we loaded Zorin OS, and we decided that it was not adequate, and so then we
It's a upcoming
yeah
distribution. Linux is a free software, and
open source
they
yeah
open source, and they are people. The term there you find in Linux world is distributions, or distro, as they normally refer to. Uh, the distribution refers to the kernel and various other things that are packaged together and then distributed.
right
And the distribution happens by several communities, some companies. Um, Ubuntu happens to be managed by a company, canonical company.
yeah
So yeah,
so
Zorin is a upcoming one. It probably has a bright future, but as
Yeah.
of now,
yeah
it's a bit too raw.
well and so since we're talking about Zorin, let's talk about the other flavors because from my research oh shoot and I meant to save that give David the link to that, and I'll have to do that at some point. So what what we've come to realize is that there are tons and tons of flavors of Linux, and they all seem to have what's the word? Some of them are well, they have slightly different uses. Let's put it that way. Some of them are better for certain things than others. Oh, there is
Yeah, I'm sharing the screen.
okay.
Ubuntu flavors.
I've got the link here, so I'll just put it into the chat here for David. There. So as we were talking about these, so the very first one there, Kubuntu.
Kubuntu.
Yeah. Research said that it was developed back in 2004, and it's kind of known as a good alternative to Windows. So that was one that we considered, and then if you go to the next one, Ubuntu.
Yeah, one of the things about Kubuntu is that it's a bit resource hungry. If you have a powerful system with a great graphics card and so on, Kubuntu can make use of that and present to you a pleasing user interface.
So as a good alternative to Windows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ubuntu is on the other extreme of the spectrum. On a low-powered laptop, computer, maybe older CPU, not much memory. Ubuntu is a light, fast, but still modern, as it says there.
Yeah. And according to my notes, that one was developed in 2009. So then we didn't really talk too much about the others, other than the Ubuntu Mate.
It is pronounced Mate.
Oh,
and Mate seems to
Mate.
be
Okay. It should have an E acute then.
yeah, but they are saying that it's named after some drink, herbal green leaves based drink. That's why most of the things on Ubuntu Mate are all green. The background is green, the menu is green, it's all green, green, green.
Okay, and so then the other one that we don't see on this list was Zorin, and it was developed in 2019. And when we loaded that on my laptop, I sort of liked the way it looked. But there weren't very many other programs that you could load in, so it seemed like it was early days for that one. So what we did was we went back and we loaded Mate. If you don't put the E acute on there, I would pronounce it English. So if it's Mate, it should have an E acute. And so we loaded that on my laptop and loaded up all the pieces and bits and so forth. And then the next day we loaded it onto my Windows computer. So what we did was we did a partition and put Mate on there. So and of course Vivek mentions this green. I keep telling him I don't like Mate because it's all green and I don't like that color. So we spent a bit of time figuring out how we could get rid of that ugly green. So and before we do a walk around, because that's what we plan on doing, that's why Vivek has an extra presence here. Maybe we should just outline what we had to do in order to load it. So we started out with a USB stick, and that was empty, didn't have anything else on it. And then we had to download a program called Rufus, which helps you download certain items to a memory stick. And then we downloaded the program software itself onto the memory stick, and then we went for the laptop. We booted up using the memory stick. So that was the process that we had to use. And there were a number of things, and Fred will attest to this. There are a number of things you have to know how to do on the command terminal as you're setting up, and that's what it's called, the command terminal. It's sort of looking in the back end at the coding, and that was the stuff that Fred wanted to avoid. And,
for some people, the command terminal experience itself is terminal.
Right.
it ends their Linux Ubuntu experience. But
Well,
it,
the way I felt about it all was, yes, Vivek was there to kind of guide me as to what I needed to put in and do all of that. But once you've got it all loaded and it's in there and you're in the on the desktop or whatever with that, it's not really difficult to use. I didn't find it was. It was just that command terminal stuff at the very beginning when you're loading. That was probably, yes, terminal. Unless you've got somebody guiding you. so, so Vivek, would you care to open up? He has another presence here. So
yeah, I was also thinking of dropping off that other thing and start from the very beginning. Start from the booting screen. So because one of the things is to try out Ubuntu or any Linux flavor, you don't have to get rid of Windows. And that aspect I want to bring and show to people how. So let me drop out of the other thing and start from the beginning, as it were.
Okay.
I'll reboot that laptop which I have. I'm working here on my laptop. So let me reboot this, and I'll show you the startup screen, which is what makes it all possible. Okay, it has.
So while he's doing that, like I've done all of these things on my computer, but we realized that hosting using OBS, it was and if I had brought in my laptop as an extra, it would have created all kinds of sound conflicts. So we decided that for Vivek to do it would make it much simpler for the success circle. So, okay.
So it's booting up Lenovo. So now you see, let me.
Yeah.
This is the boot screen. As soon as I switch it on, I am offered these 4 choices that you see there. First is Ubuntu, second is Chrome OS, third is Windows. So I can choose any of them.
So don't choose Windows.
And probably you can't see at the bottom of the screen until I choose one of them. If I don't do anything, it will choose one of the default options and boot with that.
Yeah.
So when you want to try Ubuntu, we can set it up so that if you don't do anything when the computer starts, it will boot into Windows. If you are next to the computer and you want to again try out Ubuntu, you can hit up arrow and down arrow like that, and select the operating system and hit enter, and it will start booting that.
That's quite a picture you got there. Is that London Bridge?
Yeah. So now it is booting Ubuntu.
Yeah.
Okay, let it boot. I need to log in. I'll join the meeting.
So that tells us that within Ubuntu, you can access Zoom.
Yeah.
And the other thing that Ubuntu comes loaded with Firefox, but you can go in and download the Chrome browser, and that was probably the very first thing that we did. Ding dong.
So I have muted the microphone and the speakers. Otherwise, you would hear a howling effect because I'm
Yes.
using two different things, two different microphones and speakers, and it'll
Yes.
all get messy. So, okay, so this is, I am now I'm facing my laptop, as you can see.
Yeah.
Let me do a screen share here.
Ah. Okay. There's your screen share. Okay, there is Ubuntu. It looks really nice.
So this is the interface. You can change, there are so many things that you can tweak it, customize it. Sometimes it becomes that no two computers will be alike because of all these customization aspects that you can do. Let me show you what I mean. I go to Control Center. I can change the appearance.
Yeah.
Now as I change this, you will see the effect happening immediately, straight away. If I change this,
Ew. Ew.
so things look different.
For
So
everyone. For everyone.
yeah, and you can change the background, you can change the font, interface, so many things you will be able to do. Let me get back to what it was before. This one. Okay. What else did we want to show, LowellAnn?
Some of the programs that you were able to download.
Yeah. As you can see here, Audacity is there. I don't know whether you can see the icons or
Yeah, we can.
There is VLC player. There is Google Chrome. There is Zoom. And
oh, you have OBS Studio in there.
Where do you see OBS Studio?
Up at the top. The second one down at the top, from the top.
Oh, I had it, but it is fairly easy to look for such software. And yeah, as it is, this particular laptop is quite powerful enough to run OBS and all of that. So this is the one last time. Uh, this is the one which Windows 11 can be installed on. So
Right. It's got all the bells and whistles.
yes.
Right. So you can see that the control center has a number of things that that it allows you to do whatever it is that you want to do. So
For software, there is the software boutique, which allows you to look for all different softwares, and to install any of them, all you have to do is just hit install.
Yeah.
They're all free, so you don't need to take out your credit card, debit card. No, no need.
There are one of the limitations that I noticed was there are some familiar programs like Google Chrome and the Audacity and one of I don't see it on your screen, but one of there you're showing it, GIMP. That was a really necessary one as far as I was concerned. So that was available, but there certainly are a lot of other platforms that are not available. So it just depends. But sometimes there are alternatives to things that you are used to using in Windows.
Yeah, and if you believe in living on the edge, Microsoft Edge is available.
No. That would be the last thing I would download.
Yeah, as I said, if you believe on living on the edge.
But I mean, there were a number of little programs in there that I've been used to using as being able to access through Chrome. But there are other like screen captures and things of that nature. I mean, quite often there are other items there that are alternatives to things that you were used to using in Windows. So, so I mean, even downloading any of these, you see how easy it is. You just click the item. The one thing that we should mention is that whenever you're doing anything in this, it will ask you for your password. And as Vivek explained to me, that is part of the security setup. Is that whenever you're going to do anything, it'll ask you for your password first. Yeah. So. Yeah, you can see that there's a lot of programs in there that with unfamiliar names. What? And so you'd be looking at that and saying, I wonder what that does. Yeah. One thing that I think would be a good idea for you to show is to go into Google Chrome and show how you can just use all your Google products.
So I am using Google Chrome. This is my Google Drive,
Right. Yeah.
Google Keep. Uh,
So if you're used to
this is
using,
my
yeah,
Gmail.
if you're used to using all the Google products, as many of us are, that would not change. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're in Mate, you can use all those same products in the same way because they're in the cloud. Yeah, but I did notice that there was within the software, if you really want to don't want to deal with working in the cloud, there is a whole Office suite that you can download in Mate.
Mm.
Yeah, which I didn't bother with because I wouldn't use it. So
Yeah.
so
Hey, look, there is translation.
aha.
We have been playing with the translation thing, and I have been sending messages, even though I don't know a single word of French. I have been sending French messages to LowellAnn.
Yeah, but that's phone to phone.
Yeah,
For,
but this is using the
texting.
text. This
Yeah.
is another Google
Yeah.
product that is available here.
Yeah.
So
Now the other thing that is that you're able to do is Google Chat. You see the chat there, um, and I think we discovered we could use Google Meet as well, didn't we?
yeah,
Yeah. So I don't know if Meet is in your list there, but you can access.
yeah, here.
Oh yes, there it is. Yeah. So I mean, if you're used to using all the online things, there would be no reason. And so, I mean, yes, there is a little bit of hassle in getting everything started, but once you're in the Mate system, it's not all that difficult to use.
So this is the message I sent to Jivita.
Oh yeah. So I still see this as a really good alternative for a computer down the road that is not going to be able to, like, if you've got a computer that you want to continue using and you're not going to be able to use Windows 11, and Windows 10 is it will die out eventually. This would be a good alternative that won't cost you any money, other than perhaps paying somebody like Vivek to help handhold and help you get it set up. Any questions or any observations from others that are here? Fred.
I just like to share my experience and why I'm not using Ubuntu. It's more of a hardware problem than software, but there is one problem with software is I needed a driver. The computer, the PC that I had, I was having problems with Windows, so it was suggested I try Ubuntu, and it's a wonderful program. But like you said, you need someone to help you, I think. In my case, when I wanted to use Ubuntu, I downloaded it. I have it, on Windows, and I can switch between both. The only challenge is my Wi-Fi adapter on that computer does not have a driver in Ubuntu, so I couldn't get Wi-Fi.
Oh.
So I could not access the internet.
Aha.
So how am I supposed to do that?
Yeah.
So I went out and I got a dongle, as they call it. It is a device that I can put into my USB port, and it gives me, it's called, on here it says, model such and such AC 1200 Wi-Fi adapter. So I can put this adapter in, and then I should be able to access. The only problem is that I didn't have the software for this. And how was I supposed to get it? I was supposed to have downloaded, and I needed Wi-Fi to download it, but I couldn't get Wi-Fi because I didn't. So I went around in a circle. And then they said, oh, there's a way you can do it manually. And they sent me, I was talking to support with the supplier of this, and they said, here's one thing you can try. It doesn't always work, but maybe it'll work for you. Well, it didn't work for me. So I put in the code that they suggested, and I spent hours trying to get Wi-Fi so that I could use Ubuntu. And eventually I gave up. It cost me, the dongle wasn't too expensive. It was $35 Canadian. And I thought, and this was all suggested by the fellow in Nepal. He was sort of hand-holding me a little bit. And then eventually I said, this is not worth it. So I just wanted to share my experience. And the reason is, like, if you have a PC, and as exactly what you said, Windows requires more horsepower, and it's slowing down because Windows requires so many resources. Ubuntu is so fast; it's like magic when it works. Yeah. It's so there's not this overhead. Fantastic. So I really bought the Kool-Aid, but unfortunately, Wi-Fi and that driver, there was no driver in Ubuntu for my Wi-Fi adapter in my PC.
For your PC. Oh.
And so I went through this whole process. So I'm sitting here with I want to put it on the market. Does anyone want to buy a dongle?
Oh dear. Oh.
But I think what you said, if you have somebody who can help you, it could be magic. It could actually be magic, depending what you want to do. And if the software is there, which is chances are they are. I mean, there's ways of doing whatever you want to do in Ubuntu. I think it's a fantastic, but it's not just plug and play. That's why Chromebook was so much easier. I don't even need drivers. I can plug anything in, and it just works, you know. So that's why Chromebook was a great move for me.
And my laptop, I had no problem sort of accessing my Wi-Fi from the laptop. So, and that is something we do need to mention. You do need to be able to access the internet in order for all this to work. So.
And I can access the internet with that computer in Windows because there's a driver.
Oh.
But not in Ubuntu.
Oh, that was odd. Well, I didn't need a driver when we downloaded Ubuntu to my laptop.
And this driver says it has with Linux, you know, because this is obviously an issue.
Yeah.
Because when you see it says with Linux support ticket.
Wow.
So I got a Linux support ticket and I got the Linux support, but even that didn't work for me. So anyway, those are the challenges that unless you have very technical people, sometimes you can get, and you do need command or what you call terminal thing. They call it terminal. Yeah. And that, well, that's in Windows as well. I mean, you do have command. You can go into command in Windows if you want. Not very often, but you can. So anyway, I just thought I'd mention that because somebody might find a similar experience to me.
Yeah.
But it's a wonderful product. I mean, like you were showing, it's so fast on my computer, the little bit I could do. Mm-hmm. But I couldn't download.
And I see it as a really good alternative to Windows, especially if you have an older computer and etc.
And you like technical stuff. Like it reminds me of the old DOS days before on the PC. I mean, we're really going back before Windows.
Yeah.
You know, this is BW. I guess
we all remember remember DOS. We're all old enough to remember DOS.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you had DOS, this is what, that's what the terminaling. That's fine.
Yeah.
But hey, we're sort of past, we're AW now. After Windows has been, we're used to using our mouse and stuff and not having to type everything in every time we want to do something.
Yeah. Well, and of course, we brought this up before we went live, and I should actually sort of bring it up again, I think. What really concerns me is if, because of what is happening, this means that there are going to be a lot of old computers that have to be disposed of. And how is that going to be done? And where is that going to be done? I mean, from an environmental perspective, it only makes sense. Rather than throwing the old one out and going and buying a new one, it only makes sense from an environmental perspective to look at this as a possibility.
I still say there's a business here, because you could go to people and start saying, look, if you're not going to, don't throw away your computer. Don't have to buy a new one. Here's what I can do to help you.
Yeah.
I will help you install Ubuntu or whatever else.
Yeah.
And if you don't want Ubuntu, then I'll help you with Google Chrome or whatever, the Chromebook or whatever. There's a business there, because there's going to be millions of people frustrated saying, and millions of computers.
Yeah.
And as you say, environmentally. So this you could say that, do yourself a favor and do the environment a favor.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this seriously, because you can do almost everything you want alternatively without having to buy a new computer and go to Windows 11.
Yeah.
There's so many options. There's a big business here. Somebody could do very well.
Yeah.
Or a lot of people could do very well.
Yeah.
If that's what they want. Like somebody like Vivek. I'm not saying Vivek should do this, but someone who's technical and knows, wow, they could build a phenomenal business, have all around the world helping people. Because this is an opportunity to save the environment and save money as well.
Right. So I'm glad you clarified the reason that it didn't work for you, Fred. I think that is will be helpful to anybody who watches this at a later time. Any other comments, David?
Well, I have one for Vivek. Javitsa is asking how to translate the message you sent her.
You need a Pixel phone.
Oh dear.
LowellAnn has a slightly older one, but but still it's a Google Pixel.
Yes.
So
and we've been able to send translations back and forth, so so that's cool. Well, any other comments or questions before we close for today?
you wanted to show a few tabs on the browser when we were discussing. I thought you had made a list.
Tabs? What do you mean by tabs?
I mean, you wanted to show a few links.
Oh well, we just looked at the that article. It talked about the Ubuntu flavors.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have anything else that I mean, if you Google Linux flavors, you can find out. You can discover where to download the software. I think that was all I really wanted to do, Vivek.
Okay.
Unless you can think of something else that should be done.
No.
No.
It's
Okay.
yeah. Actually, adding to what Fred was saying, why Chromebook or Chrome OS is so popular or so easy to use. It's mainly because Google is behind it. As simple as that, actually. Google is behind it, so Google can just, one of the software engineers within Google can say, pick up a phone to one of the software developers in one of the hardware, say, dongle manufacturers, and say, hey, I'm from Google. We would like to incorporate your hardware to be compatible to our system.
Yeah.
The other guy would certainly jump up on it and start working on it. Whereas Ubuntu or any of these Linux flavors, it's a small, they're all, most of them are small companies. They're not, of course, I mean, compared to Google, definitely they are very small.
Yeah.
And they can't really get on the phone with anybody and expect the other person to develop something for them. I don't know whether you saw it. I did send you, LowellAnn, I did send you a couple of articles.
Yes, I got them early this morning. I didn't have time to read them.
They are all saying, one of them is actually saying, explains the history of Chromebook. Chromebook is based on Linux. And it talks about that, and then I think two years ago now, 2019, Google actually did come out and say, from now on, any Chromebook that they bring out will have Linux capabilities built in. So any software that you want to run on Linux, you should be able to run on a Chromebook.
On a Chromebook. But Vivek, when you and I tried to download the Google OS onto my laptop,
but agreed. But
there seemed to be something missing.
Something missing is we are trying to. Your laptop is not officially supported by Google.
No.
Not officially supported by Google Chrome OS.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But they are talking about the hardware that is supported by Google as a Chrome OS. They will be able to run Linux and so on. So,
according to Wikipedia, Chrome OS is the second novel of Spanish-born American writer
you activated your.
published in 1990.
Be careful what you say when you. Oh, cool. Oh, that's funny. I love it.
So I was going to say Fred may be able to go back to his Linux experimentation while still using Chromebook.
Yes, no, it's there, but Chrome is doing everything I want. So why go and spend time?
Why do you do that?
If I was technically, I love technology. I always have, but it's time that I don't have. I mean, I've got lots of things on my plate, and to go and start going down the Ubuntu channel would be fun. I'd enjoy it.
Maybe you should tell that bit of information to your Nepalese friend and see what he says.
Well, he's an open source fan. Everything he does is an open source. Everything. He just loves it, and that's his. And he's a techie. So yeah, and I would enjoy it. I know I'd have fun doing it, but it's we only have so many hours in the
Time.
day. That's one
Right.
thing we all have, 24 hours, and we need some of that to sleep and other things. So
Right on.
if I didn't have to sleep, I might have said, okay, I could spend a few hours a day doing that. That would be fun. That would be a nice, not a rabbit hole, because I think it's fascinating, and especially the speed. I have 3 computers, and the one is not working. And that's the one that Ubuntu is on. It has Windows, but I don't know. It doesn't like Windows either. So
Right. All right.
it's more, as I said, it's more the hardware challenge in this case.
Right. All right. We are at the top of the hour, and so I'm going to bring us to a close, and to let you know that the next 2 sessions that I had sort of planned, I am going to change. Had talked about next week talking about Windows 11 workarounds. My research has shown there aren't any. So that one. So next week I will have to decide on what we're going to talk about. And then the same, the following one, we sort of thought about system requirements. And I'm thinking that I'm going to cancel that one too. Enough about Windows 11.